Let's take a look at this matchup between Obey and Energy, though. You mentioned Pretty Prime there. Him versus Yemen has got to be, I mean, as a mid laner myself, like that is the coolest matchup I could ever think of right now. These are two guys that are just playing at an unbelievable level in the mid lane.
It's not even just the level of skill play that they're showing for themselves, but just the way that they're able to work around the rest of their teammates. That's, I think, what the real breaking point is for a lot of mid laners is that, yes, you can be talented on an individual level, but how well you combine that with the rest of your team is what can really make the difference between a victory and a loss. And when it comes to Pretty Prime, he connects with everybody on this roster.
Man, his play at Masters was just unbelievable. I mean, you want to talk about a guy who earned his MVP there in the entire weekend. Pretty Prime was the guy, multiple triple kills there. Those were both from Masters. I mean, he just played out of his mind. It was really incredible. And Yemen was the one kind of trying to catch up to Pretty Prime. And I don't think Yemen's been able to say he's been trying to catch up to someone in quite some time, but you saw Energy take away the Vulcan from Obey, basically to keep it out of Prime's hands. But Yemen has that ability to just take over a game at any stage.
Yemen has always been one of those players, though, where you've never really felt as though he's been in a bad light. He's very consistent, he's very strong, and he's confident in his gameplay. And I think that that's also what attributes a lot of the victory to NRG. He can be overlooked sometimes, but I don't think he's overlooked as often anymore. Not after NRG has found a couple of world championships and game set wins because of Yemen. And it's just he's a really strong player in the sense that when you're able to flex your god pool so heavily, you're never really going to be out of the meta.
No, I mean, he can play it all in that mid lane. Like I said, he can play that Vulcan, he can play the Chiron mid lane, you know, all this kind of stuff. His god pool is pretty much endless. We haven't seen him pick up the Morrigan yet, and that's something that a lot of EU mid laners are starting to incorporate, and you know Yemen has the mechanical capability to play a god like that, so keep an eye on that pick in particular for that set. But before that set comes set number 3. That's going to be Eager up against eUnited, our final NA set of the day. And Taco, this new look duo lane for eUnited, PandaCat and PolarBearMike. How do you think they play out against the veteran duo lane of Eager?
Well, it might be a new duo lane for eUnited, but PolarBearMike is all too familiar with Eager, and especially Zapman. I mean, he did lane with him at one point a very long time ago right now, but it was a thing in the past, and I think that, if anything, it might help out PolarBearMike and PandaCat as far as knowing when to properly engage. PandaCat loves being aggressive. I think that PolarBearMike can keep him in check.
Yeah, very aggressive duo lanes for sure on both sides. I think PBM could be the difference maker for eUnited. We saw them have a strong spring split, but not end up where they wanted to at LAN. Payne Divion finally ends up leaving this team, not by his own volition. This is kind of that change of pace that I think teams kind of need, because while it's great when teams stick together, you can become a little bit stagnant at times.
I think we've discussed it before, actually. I know that you've brought it up numerous times off the cast, but PolarBearMike was probably one of the best pickups that eUnited could have possibly done for themselves, because Payne was a very strong leadership factor, and PolarBearMike is kind of one of those players where he might be young, but he still carries a lot of that veteran leadership capability, and he's a very knowledgeable player. He takes a lot of pride in his art when it comes to the support gameplay, and I think he was definitely the best candidate possible for eUnited to keep that team under reign.
To take a phrase from my sports background, he's also a great locker room guy. You know what I mean? He's good for the team morale. He's there. He's a fun guy to be around, and always seems to have a positive attitude, and that's very important. Unless he's trolling on Twitter, in which case no one really needs that. But this duo lane for Eager on the other side, Zapman and Aror, these are two that often try and set the tone, not only for the particular games, but often for the meta that they're playing in. You can always look for these two to bring something new to the table.
I mean, it's Zapman. He's always been that guy that tries to control the pacing of a game. He's certainly learned to control himself a little bit more as far as the flashiness is concerned, which I think has helped greatly with the overall team environment. But you've got Aror, and he really just helps Zapman shine a lot of the time. He's just such a strong support player that you never really, when you think of like bad support gameplay or like rough support gameplay, you never really see Aror having that rough of a game. Like, he might fall behind in certain aspects, but he always ensures that he's doing what is best for the team, even in games where they're behind.
Gotta mention the Robin support. That was the roughest Aror game I've seen in a little bit.
Yeah.
But you're right, very consistent, and I think that he can play such a wide style. There we saw him with an unbelievable Geb clip where he finds a multi-man Cataclysm after a perfectly timed shield, and then he'll also play Erlong Shen or Ares and just solo you all by himself. So you never know what you're gonna get when it comes to Eager. You should know, though, Taco. What's your prediction here? Eager versus eUnited.
Eager versus eUnited. I would have to say that this is a split.
Ooh, a split right down the middle. Well, it's a little bit too late to change your fantasy point picks, so way to go there, Taco. But either way, we're ready to go. Let's send it to the casters for set number 3.
Thanks a lot, guys. I'm here with Toli again, and we're going to talk about North America again. Eager versus eUnited for the first time this split. And I'm excited to see these guys because I just want to see both of these teams really find themselves. I mean, both of these teams had minimal roster changes, but enough that you got to work through it.
A little spicy shakeups. DJ leaving the team, now picking up Stanford Soccer 2 out of Eager. PolarBearMike filling the role of the general for eUnited. Both of these teams in week number 1 came and walked away with a split. Now having to face off against each other. This match is going to determine who's going to be climbing those standings heading into Valencia.
Let's take it to picks and bans real quick. Eager versus eUnited. On the left side will be the first pick, and that's going to be eUnited. They're EU from NA. Boy, do I hate that. But they're going to ban out Susano like a North American team should.
See what you did there. Obviously, Homie FA playing Susano lights out that last game. Same story goes, though, for a lot of these junglers here. Stanford Soccer 2, we haven't seen too much out of him in the SPL action, but whenever he does play ranked, he's always been making a lot of flashy plays, so taking that option away from him.
So Terra and Osiris also going to be banned out. eUnited here with their first selection. Will they go the Hades? Probably not. We're going to see the Bellona come out. Very strong solo laner for EU.
Hades is more of a comfort pick and selection for your mid laner that's more just comfortable for yourself. Not necessarily the best in every team scenario. Like if you're trying to strip away a Hades,
the best.
Some players might not necessarily feel the same way.
Hades the best. I'm kidding a little bit. Hoyi and Geb will be the selections for Team Eager, and Ganesha, bang! PolarBearMike just taking it away real quick. United can have a strong draft already.
So Wub been playing the Ganesha in the last set. It struggled a lot because he was the focus point here out of Monkey Madness, but this is a new set here, so we're going to see probably PolarBearMike with some interesting ideas and mindset, because he's always one of these very creative players, whether or not he's playing a different god or just a different itemization choices, but same thing can be said here about Aror.
The Vamana, very interesting for Divios because of how standard Vamana is. When I hear Divios, I think kind of oddball stuff. I think Guardians, Vamana, a little bit different. Why do we see him go to the baby?
I think they're going for more of a late game focused build here. Hu Yi, Geb, a lot of safety in team fights specifically. So Vamana, I think that Team Eager is just looking to kind of farm and chill in the early game.
Well, we'll take a look at that one. Camazotz will be the selection for Sam for soccer, whereas Medusa comes through for eUnited. I like that selection. You got Soul there with some basic attacks, and Medusa is going to be ability-based as well, so kind of throwing that off. It's not just 2 straight hunters. I like that one. And then the Thor selection for Verizial. We'll see how it works out in the long run. Guardian, mid lane. That's what needs to be selected, and it will be the Hades. I told you it's going to be the Hades.
Hades making his second appearance again today thus far.
That's the Hades dance.
It's banned away. The Hades dance?
Hades dance. Hades. 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 We got 20 seconds. I'm not going to do that for 20 seconds. But the Hades, I love this pick. It's exciting. I really want to see how it works out in the team fights. Theoretically, though, against the Soul, Medusa, Thor, these are characters that can get out of the ultimate very, very well. So you're going to need to burn the beads by way of Geb or otherwise. Let's get to it. Team Eager versus eUnited right now, starting out. And TheBest will be playing the Hades.
You were talking about the beads burner between the Geb and the Hades. It was a great idea to last pick this Hades before some of these other picks, trying to really find the right matchup here. Khaos might be struggling a little bit in terms of the clearing department. Verizial on the Thor, Khaos on the Soul. Stanford Soccer 2 here on this Camazotz. Midlane should go the favor of Eager.
You know what's interesting? Khaos or Soul doesn't seem like a Khaos character to me.
I agree.
When we think about Khaos, we think of gods like Agni and Zhonghui and Giannis, and Soul is a very different style.
Oh,
Watch out for Benji with the rotation with the short lane. Varizio starting off hot. eUnited, get it going.
A lot of damage out of this team. Thor benefiting from his passive. You don't necessarily want to be too close to the Thor. That's 15 extra power here per player that is around you. Does quite a bit, packs quite a bit of a punch here. And with the rotation from Benji on this Bellona, he's going to have a little bit extra here. Going for Desto and Bumba's Mask on the Bellona, surprisingly.
Yeah, I liked the timing of that as well. So Benji was able to make that rotation late. And it was because he was late that Team Eager took the, I mean, I'll call it bait, but they moved forward because there was only 2 guys there. A lot of times we see that solo rotation come early and the players know they have to back off. Benji makes it way late.
And because the mid lane meets a little bit quicker, the minions get there a little faster compared to the side lanes. About 30 seconds for the side lanes. You're looking at about 23 seconds or so in the mid lane or so. And that's the difference that allows these soul laners to make this rotation in the mid lane for that quick gank and then look to rotate back to the lane, whether they're walking back or whether they spend too much time and use that teleport.
Team Eager make a light invade into the enemy jungle, but eUnited, as they're now called, are able to actually get the real big prize and take their red buff. So Team Eager 4-man split the little minis. That's not the real goal there. They wanted the big guy, but they were scared off by the Ganesh.
Not wanting to take that fight. Ganesh does a decent amount of damage as well by himself. His first ability here, the Turn of Fate, does a lot of damage in terms of clearing the wave, and every single enemy he hits, you're giving a damage amplification to yourself and your teammates. 2% per stack.
Oh, Zapman, he's going to be in trouble. Finds the jump away. The dance away, I guess we'll go for it. Speaking of dance, how much you want to bet that Smite Pro already clipped our Hades dance?
Of course. Knowing SNK, he skipped that. It's already tweeted. It's on CNN, Reddit, like everywhere.
I gotta say though, Hades dance
the
is the way to do
dance?
it. Yeah, man.
It's nothing like my walrus hands though.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, nothing is like your walrus hands. Zapman finding some pot shots beforehand as eUnited forced to take their wave right before it hits the tower, so good for them. They'll be able to clean up some gold in addition to the experience, but all told, still just 1 kill. Nice and early on, eUnited with the flank kill in the mid lane.
PandaCat level 5 could look for a play here in the dual lane just off of that alone. Sunder on both of these supports trying to get lane control, but Zapman and Aror respecting the damage potential out of eUnited. Nice little disruption from Aror as he clears the wave and disrupts the back of PandaCat at the same time.
Yeah, it's not going to be any skin off Panda's back. He'll just go ahead, head to base, and come right on back. Likely not missing anything, honestly. Thanks to the way he can slither out of base.
Eager have to be so mindful of the Rizzo playing this Thor, the global presence alone. That one little back, quote-unquote, air hashtag backs from PandaCat could be a bait potential where he's hoping that Aror and Zapman would stop the back and then Varizio coming from the sky landing down. That's always one strategy that eUnited could take advantage of.
And that's something that, you know, Team Eager are definitely well aware of. They have to see where that comes from. Varizio's Thor, though, is very standard. And if I had to show somebody what Thor does in Smite, I would go Varizio. I don't think he's the best Thor, but I don't think he's the worst Thor. But I think he just executes this character the way it was meant to be. He's always rotating. He's always in the wrong, quote-unquote, wrong side of the map, the enemy side of the map, making use of that passive, getting surrounded by players, and then ulting virtually on cooldown. Right now, Varizio is saying, okay, we'll farm up the jungle, and we'll look for either objective or kill.
Oh, the gold here going to get started now, trying to utilize those garlic pillars to clear the gold here really quickly. I think it took about 6 seconds total, but having to use Dharmic pillars and that supernova for eUnited to get a 4.5-minute gold here.
So the way the Dharmic pillars work is that the damage takes twice a second. So there is some sort of synergy with stunning somebody in the line or even shake and bake, right? That we saw so many moons ago with the original application of this ultimate when it was on a character called Nuwa many moons ago. But the way it works here is it only takes twice a second, but twice a second's a lot. So the Gold Fury goes down really quickly. And that's going to be one in the eUnited column, who, in addition to their first blood, pick up a very quick Gold Fury, and already in 5 minutes find themselves up by about 2K.
However, it's not going to stay that much damage throughout the rest of the patches. We're already making changes to it where it's going to be 40% damage to the jungle minions. So Dharmic Pillar's not going to be providing you that same kind of impact. But there's also a lot of other gods in Smite that give you that same amount of impact in terms of clearing out the gold here. You got your Isis with the Circle of Protection. You got your any mid-mage here that has a lot of burst damage. You got Bastet or any other god that can tank minions for you, whether it's Nuwa, Bakasura, Bastet. And then you also have gods like Anubis that may seem troll or whatnot, but has a lot of burst damage, not only towards gods, but objectives.
You say he seems troll. If you give enough protection to Anubis, he will just wreck the game. Eager picked him 3 times at Worlds, and even in the game that they lost, where they picked Anubis, I have said this many times, I don't think it was about that. Listen, we can't go down that rabbit hole again, do we?
It's just that Anubis is kind of like the meme of Smite. He's the Goobus of Smite, right? You're looking for a meme, well, there's your Goobus.
Goobus? You think it's Goobus?
It's Goobus.
I don't know, man. Yeah, it's Goobus. But he just has the application. He's there, he exists! And we do see him from time to time. I like when the alternate regions, when you look at China and Latin America, they'll play him occasionally. The best gets caught up right now, able to heal up some of the initial initiation damage, and he'll just dash away. Hades.
It's Hades right there for you. Using his clear before taking all that poke, so having to retreat under the safety of his own tier 1 tower. eUnited with a pretty comfortable lead thus far, about 2,000 gold, 7 minutes into the game, 3,000 experience as well. PandaCat getting the slight better end here against Zapman, level 9 to his 8. And going forward now, more invades here out of eUnited, warding very aggressively as the red buff respawns, just stripped away just like that.
eUnited made a name for themselves once upon a time in their first iteration as a team that was really about all about the objectives. Well, this game is absolutely playing to their identity, and it's interesting. Khaos gets chased down. Taco touched it on the desk. It's interesting because Pain de Viand for so long was a banner figure for this team, right? You switch him out for another player, coach-esque player like PolarBearMike, and the team identity stays the same. They're looking for team unity instead of individual prowess. They're looking for objectives. I call it red buff as an objective, right? You're looking for those hyper-aggressive objective plays. eUnited are still eUnited despite a change of their lead singer. You can't do that often, but they're doing it here.
Aggro put it best. He's that locker room guy at best, getting surrounded here by 3 members, forced to retreat towards the right.
Vince's going for it. Viriziel's up. He wants to continue forward, totally. Letting on the best would be a good idea, but this one's better. 2 players get hit, and now Sam for Soccer in the sky, looking for the kill out of the Thor. Won't find it. Divios makes the rotation from the short lane, and Viriziel from a distance snipes down Sam for Soccer. Benji takes out the best in his ultimate, and it's 3-zip eUnited.
Oh, nice rotation from Zapman trying to catch
That's one.
Benji gets taken out, so that's going to be 2 for 1. Great positioning of the Dharmic Pillars out of PolarBearMike, catching Sanford Sarker out of position. Not only that, he also charged at him, catching him at that line, which also set up for a very easy double tap out of Viriziel. Despite having to disengage as a Thor player, you're still able to stay relevant in the team fight. Just throw those hammers, because those things, they chop.
Yeah, if you get those double taps. Ooh, nice little dodge out by PandaCat. You see how he's able to pull it and leash it to get around the Zapman's ricochet? That was fun. I like that.
He's out of his cage.
Despite all of his rage. He doesn't even have
But he's
one.
not a rat, though.
Ah, totally picking it up. Shouts to the 90s. Either way, at 9 minutes, eUnited are smashing pumpkins and smashing Team Eager. 2,000 gold in the lead, almost 3,000 here, folks. A Gold Fury, an early first blood, and then a nice, clean team fight afterwards. They do wind up trading out a solo later, but that's what you get for being a solo later. Solos and supports, you got to expect to die.
Absolutely. They're the victims. They're the scapegoats. Just got to blame them all.
Thank you. Thank you. Excellent analysis from Anatoly.
I got your circle here, circle there. This guy went over here.
Is that your F-Dot impression?
No, that's my John Madden impression.
Oh, okay. Sam for Soccer needs some sort of impression. He's going to be able to walk away, maybe a little bit depressed, but he'll continue as eUnited wind up staying aggressive. That wasn't the same, but I'll go for it anyway. 10 minutes on the clock. Fire Giant waking up right about now, which means the Portal Demon also going to be waking up as well. So that's another objective for eUnited to look at right now. Vamana landing down to the enemy jungle. Zapman in trouble. PandaCat looking for the ultimate, but here comes TheBest.
A lot of damage, a lot of AoE. The suns come raining down along with the Pillar of Agony. Best gets traded out with his enemy hunter, PandaCat, but in the sky, Soccer along with Benji.
There's
now
nice.
landing in, forcing the Purification Beads. It's going to be a wash 1-for-1. PandaCat went really deep there, wanted to kill Zap so hard there, but Aror was there for the shield.
Yep.
Best was there to keep PandaCat in place with the Pillars of Agony, and there was just nothing for PandaCat to do after that.
But Best does wind up paying for his transgressions there. Usually that Hades ultimate, if you watch strong Hades players, that Hades ultimate usually has to come at the end of a team fight. When it comes to the beginning in that scenario, you know that you're dying, and I don't think that was the wrong play. The Best was just a facilitator there, trading himself out for the hunter. But in the sense that usually that's why you see it later, because everybody's tools are already down. Khaos just ulted him in the brain.
But PandaCat, he used his dash, he used his Petrified. There was no opportunity for him to escape the Pillars of Agony, and that communication between Team Eager, recognizing that this is why we see the Hades ultimate very early in the team fight. Despite only catching PandaCat, that's all you really need, because taking away a hunter from an enemy team, now you're taking away a lot of their DPS, and you can look to really just extend the team fight even further.
I mean, if you take away a different player, that might be Gold Fury, right? So you got to get the Hunter and Khaos are the two players that are going to be doing the majority of the damage to the objectives. So if you're not able to really do that, then, well, what was the team fight about? Existential.
Oracle's going in the way of eUnited. 12 minutes into the game. United get the first goal here with a very early one at 4.5-minute mark with that Dharmic Pillars from PBM on this Erlang Shen. They haven't really taken a second attempt here up until maybe right now.
Erlang Shen doesn't even look like Ganesha.
Did I say Erlang Shen?
Yeah, they're not even related in this. Like, I can't even find the connection.
A little bit of a brain fart, but Vamana diving into the backline, catching Soccer without his Purification Beads.
Oh.
Not even able to get in the sky in time.
Oh, man. That was... That's what
Thor.
You just get Thored. Sometimes you get Thored. The full combo just perfectly executed. Animation cancels out the wazoo. That's how it's done, folks.
Divios in the back line. He's made the teleport happen, waiting very patiently.
Divios. He's just going to wait way too long, actually. Divios is way too quiet. At some point, you got to make the noise. Divios ults after the fact. Was there just no communication there?
It seemed that everyone from Eager was just too far away. Based on where Divios was positioned, he couldn't really see the health bar out of the Gold Fury, it seems, and no one from Eager took that initial step. There needed to be a collapse as a unit, and because that hasn't happened, United walks away with a second Gold Fury very cleanly, now about 4,000 gold in the lead.
Wow, that was a really big play for eUnited. That's a dropped opportunity from Divios. I mean, he can knock them all up, effectively leashing the objective. Ooh, nice play on Benji, but it's not going to be enough to kill. Level 14. Here comes Thor. Double tap executed. Here's the spin to win. Zerga's Barrage will finish it off. Vamana. Nice play by the jungler. This is the... Oh, wow. Vamana. This is old Vamana.
Taking advantage of Divios. His ultimate was down from that gold fuel exchange. He used his knock-up to stop the bludgeon from Benji's. As a result, he had no way of surviving. Portal Demon going to get started and absolutely melted here. eUnited cleaning up even more gold with more objectives.
Very well done by eUnited. A big part of this has been a return to form for Vamana, who... I still feel, I keep going back to this one moment, Soccer in trouble here right side. Vamana shows up again. Here he is, Bluestone Pendant, making it happen. Vamana in the jungle on Thor. Just a crazy game. 4-0-2. He's been a part of 6 out of 7 kills.
And Zapman's done with these team fights. He's going to commit to split pushing in the duel lane. He's like, all right, you guys are just a little bit too much getting caught out of position here. Now, to be fair, if you're getting ganked by a Thor, are you really getting caught out of position? Not necessarily. You're getting dove between your tier 1 and tier 2. but still securing himself and his team 500 gold in the bank is out.
Really important play here by PandaCat that I want to point out. Usually when we see hunters freezing the wave like this, it's because of an experience or gold denial effect. But with the tier 1 tower down and the wave pushed up so far, PandaCat wants to just look for the last chance and not really wind up killing it itself so that the wave can be pushed up that far, forcing Zapman to be unsafe to get experience.
There's pros and cons to doing that every single time.
Yep.
There's offensive and defensive capabilities. If you're behind, you definitely should be doing that because you're trying to deny it and separate the distance. And separating the distance is Divios, so he's going to be able to dash away. And whether or not you're ahead, you still want to be able to deny all that golden experience. But by doing that, you're dictating the pace of the game, saying that there's going to be no team fights while I'm doing this. Not going to be able to get into the action.
And that allows eUnited to really choose when the game explodes. By keeping the game sort of stuck at a standstill, right? They're able to say, okay, we're gonna wait for Virizial's ult to come back up. And then we'll push, and then we'll make a move. But for now, we're just hanging.
And just waiting for Goldfury to respond. 2 more minutes on that objective. Portal Demon was taken earlier on as well, and there's no way Eager's going to be trying to sneak away a Fire Giant, whether or not PandaCat is sitting in that duel lane. So that would be a smart idea for him to just constantly zone away Zapman here, who's actually have a 1-level lead here over PandaCat.
And that goes to show that that's just the farming coming out from Zapman. He's avoiding the fights, he's not committing to the fights like PandaCat is, allowing him individually to get off to a different start. Divios in trouble here, about 75% HP. Ultimate out of the Geb, hits only PolarBearMike, who drops the pillars in response. Suns come down as well. Best slowly making his rotation, waiting for all of the opportunities to be spent by eUnited. Virizial up in the back line, Scream, and the ultimate gonna get one. Benji in trouble, landing down as Virizial to save his jungler, and the Best gets credit. Well, the Best dies, Virizial gets credit, and it's PandaCat's turn to split push to victory.
eUnited is winning a team fight on the right, 4 on 5. Benji forced to use a defensive Eagles rally away. PandaCat, he gets to tier 1 in the duel lane. He's now looking to push to tier 2, but it's Sam for Soccer now making the rotation. The question is, can he stop it in time? Looks like not.
No, not at all. Well, I mean, he'll stop the tier 2 count finish,
yeah.
But that's about it. PandaCat's still going to go ahead and collect tier 1 and red buff, etc. So eUnited making every situation count here. And again, gotta tip my hat to the jungler, Virizial. There was a point where PandaCat left the team for a little bit. He took a leave of absence, right? He was coming back, but he just wasn't there for a split or so. And Virizial tried to overplay his hand almost. He knew he had to be the star because PandaCat was a star at that point, and it changed his playstyle totally. And I think it changed it negatively. Here, this is a return to the original Virizial. And I think that's why we're seeing eUnited partially succeed here.
This old staple Thor pick, whether or not he's building defensively with his former breastplate of Valor selection, is now shifting it to the Shifter Shield that has a little bit of a buff increase in terms of physical power. So it's a great item choice here for a lot of these gods that has a lot of good scaling on their abilities.
It's 70 power.
75, I think.
It's 75 power. It might be 70, but either way, I mean, it's over 70 power, let's put it that way. It's incredible. It's just a large amount of damage coming out. Goldfury half HP. Look at Virizial making the flanker out on the backside. He's got the Best in his sights. The stun is good, but only one side of the hammer will hit. Aror, on the other hand, he's toasted. Khaos making it hurt.
Being landed on by Virizial after that easy clean pick onto Aror. No more Geb shields for Eager, and this 5-on-4 fight is going to get started by Benji.
And that one's going to go the way of eUnited again. 8,000 gold in the lead. Now fighting in the Suns and the Darwin Pillars and the Pillar of Agony. The Best goes down. Khaos puts double digits up for eUnited. Make that 11. PandaCat make that 12. It's a baker's dozen as the Hunter gets the double kill. Down goes Sam for Soccer. It's a deicide for eUnited. And with the Goldfury already down, totally, they're heading east.
No one dying from eUnited. Benji walking away with a sliver of health here. PandaCat's going to start up this Portal Demon, and what a comfortable...
No Portal Demon. They're going for the truck. Get out of here. Fire Giant is the target. The ultimates are down, so if Team Eager shows up, they'll be able to take it. But look at where they are. Literally dead. Geb is just hanging out by his tower, knows that he can't do much of anything. Fire Giant goes down, Portal Demon goes down, all before the 20-minute mark. And as we pass that moment, it's 13-2 here, folks, and an 11,000 gold lead for eUnited.
There was only the support alive to be able to defend that Fire Giant. Smart calculating play here out of eUnited. However, back in the day, supports were actually one of the scariest people to contest any sort of objective whenever Hand of the God used to be able to secure some of these objectives at that 25% kill threshold. But now, all the Geb can really do is CC you with the Cataclysm and then try to find that knockout, which does a decent amount of damage if you could position yourself right at the feet of the Fire Giant.
Yeah, even still, I think he was a little too far away. Even if he like rolled out and everything, I just don't think he was going to make it.
Yeah, I think the blink was on cooldown as well as I was looking at it, so not really in a great spot to get in position for Aror. And with that, 5-man Fire Giant squad out of eUnited, 13,000 gold in the lead. Zapman's going to get dope.
Split push Thor, split push Thor. He takes to the sky looking for Zapman. He misses the ultimate. Zapman might get out. Aror finds another ultimate out of him, but PandaCat on the backside looking for Zapman. Takes him down. That's number 14 for eUnited.
Soccer gonna get stunned out. Aegis Amulet being used just to buy a little bit of time, but the Sunder will clean him up. Best gets the shield from Aror, but it's not enough. Khaos takes him out as well. A quick surrender out of Eager.
Yeah, just thinking about game number 2 here. Had no intentions of staying there. eUnited 14 kills up. Find the victory. Honestly looked easy.
It did, because Verizio has been dictating the pace of that whole entire first game on this Thor, making a statement here. Sanford Soccer on the Camazotz just couldn't really match up, and Hades get punished really hard, really early by that early level 1 rotation from Benji.
Yeah, Hades is a great character, but needs additional help. If you look at the Anister tape, Andy was very rarely the one going in first. Really just looking at that Gold Fury play, everybody else really helps him out when he's playing the Hades. Right there, I mean, when we talk about Thor being able to dictate the pace of the game, that's the textbook game. I'm going to go back and refer to that VOD for players wondering, what do they mean when they say that? So, excellent.